Hello and welcome back to the SportsRunDown Betalong. How is everybody getting on tonight?
Yeah, good, Albie. How are you?
Yeah, good. Before we dive into the show, we will just give a quick handover to Slats here because his bet is well and truly live and we're a few minutes late, so better get this one out in the open. Slats.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm good as well. Yeah, my bet is off to a good start anyway. So this is the first of our live action ACCA. This is the treble we do every Friday. It's up on our website from Thursday. So, you can see that we're not after timing now. It's 30 minutes into my pick, and it's going pretty well. It's Den Bosch versus the Graafschap in the Dutch second division, and the bet I've gone with is the Graafschap to win with both teams to score. So it's a total, I think, an ideal game that we kind of look for. It's 14th place in the league, home to second place in the league. So you have a clear favourite, but you also have a home underdog who are going to go for it and going to try to get a result. They're at home; they're not going to want to be just pushed over. So I fancied Den Bosch. They've actually been on pretty decent form. I fancied them to have a bit of a go at this game, but ultimately the Graafschap would be too good for them. The Graafschap are like odds on 1-2 to win the game, which, even just looking at the league positions alone, that's understandable, but they're unbeaten in their last 7 games. They're the best away form in the league, 5 wins from 6 games. So it's not at all surprising. But when you do include the both teams to score, that pushes the 1-2 out to 17-10. And that match is currently 1-1, going on 35 minutes into it. So we have the both teams to score already in the bag. The only concern now would be that Den Bosch actually overperform and do better than I was expecting them to. But even just looking at the shots here, Den Bosch have had 1 shot and got a goal from it. The Graafschap have had 9 shots with 5 of them on target and have got a goal from it. So, they're dominating certainly the shot stats. They've a few more attacks and possession. But they're dominating.
But I've got a huge fear this week that it'll be me who lets the group down. But before we get into that, Gary, how are you getting on tonight?
Yeah, good. I'll be good. A little bit stressed about my pick, as you said. There's a bit of pressure on now that I've forced us to kind of go looking for a certain bookie to put on the bet. But hopefully it can come in. I'm just going in to get the team news now. So yeah, Che Adams is starting. So my bet is for Che Adams to have 2 shots on target. So initially he was priced up at 6-4 on Betfair, and I thought that was a good price. And then I realized that he was 14-5 on William Hill, and I just couldn't turn down that price. So he scored in his last 2 games in all competitions. I think it was a League Cup game and a Premier League game there. And I mentioned in the article that Villa have just been conceding all around them. So they've conceded, I think it's 12 goals in their last 4 games. And, teams are having a lot of joy against them. They conceded 4 against West Ham on Sunday. Southampton aren't the greatest strike force in the world, but I think they've been creating chances. I think they'll get chances tonight, given how sloppy Villa have been in defence. And I said the Che Adams 2 shots on target just stuck out like a sore thumb to me. So that game is an 8 p.m. kickoff in the UK. So probably about another 25 minutes to go until that gets underway. But looking forward to trying to cheer at home anyway.
Yeah, I like that bet. I love a shots on target bet myself, so I'm very, very keen for that one to come in. But I was just putting on the William Hill version of the bet, and both the odds were out there around 2-1, and mine is 1-2 this week with the both teams to score leg cut out of it. So I was looking at this 14-1 ACCA with my 1-2 leg being the thing to let it down. I'd be absolutely devastated. But the official bet I've gone for is Leuven and Oostende, both teams to score and over 2.5. It's a little closer to evens. It's 4-5 with Bet365 was the best price I saw during the week. It's an interesting one. I think Leuven will win this game. They're at home, but they're odds on, and they're not a team worth backing at odds on, to be quite honest about it. So I've gone for the goals, but in that game, Oostende started the season quite well. Things have gone downhill badly since then. And their only 3 wins in the last 10 games have come against the bottom 3 in the league. So Beerschot, Circle, and Serie. So, those 3 wins don't count for a huge amount. They've scored in nearly every game, though, even though they're not picking up many points. Leuven, a little bit different. They're playing quite well, but not, had a bad start getting over it. What it did stand out to me about both of these teams is that they're conceding or scoring late. So 4 of last 5 games for Leuven and 7 of the last 8 for Oostende. There's been a goal in the last 10 minutes. So it gives a bit of hope that even if the bet's not in early, that there should be some late action. A lot of 2-2 draws each this season as well, which is nice to see when you're back in goal. So I've gone with over 2.5 and both teams to score 4-5. A Leuven win and both teams to score is about 3-1, a little bit inside 3-1. That's another bet that I like. In that I haven't backed it yet. I might before we kick off, but I haven't got it on yet. And so that's the ACA. As the guys pointed out earlier, that's 14-1, a little bit over. So we've put a tenner on that, so it'll win 157, I think, if that comes in. And we'll give that to one of the most engaged viewers on the stream. So YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter are the 3 places we're live at the minute. Let your put your comments in there. Tell us what you're watching. Tell us what you're betting. Tell us what you think of our bets. Just anything really. We love chatting to you guys on the stream here. So put in your comments, and the most engaged viewer or the best comment or whatever it might be, we'll decide at the end. But someone will get that money if that bet comes in. So I think it'll be 157 this week. And so that's where we're at.
I noticed you had mentioned about the late goals in the article referring to your Belgian bet, LB. I was kind of laughing at it. It's a bit like in advance notice of don't worry everyone, it's this bet isn't dead. There's plenty of time. They had loads of late goals before. It seemed like you're already resigned to it being a close call.
You know what it is? I feel like any of the Belgian games we put on the stream that don't involve Bruges just seem to go against me. That's why I got that bizarre kind of ear when I was putting it in there. But got my excuses in early anyway. So they usually have late goals. That's what I'll be saying later on tonight when it finishes 0-0.
First time all season they haven't had a late goal.
Yeah,
I know it is definitely good because if we're sitting on a 1-1 going into the last 10 or 15 minutes, you still would be pretty confident that one of them is going to slip up and concede late. So
it's something else I touched on in the article, that they both need to win. And they both probably will think they can win. It's not like Leuven or Oostende or any of these guys going away to Bruges or to Liège or somewhere where you're kind of hoping for a draw. You play real defensively. Both of these guys will think that they should win this game. And so I think that's always a good sign when you're looking at goals. Even if they go 1-0 down, I can't see either of them shutting up shop. Like I said, Oostende are just beginning, because they had that good start, they're beginning to drift away from the promotion or the playoff places, and you need to be beating Leuven if you're going to have a chance at that. And then for Leuven, they're about 5 points above the relegation zone, but again, these are the games that they'll need to get points from if they have any chance at staying above that relegation zone. I think they'll be fine this year. There's 2 pretty awful teams in the league, but you can't rely on that as early as November.
So when you're saying relegation zone, so that league splits, we've talked about it before, it kind of splits in 2, and then it's just the bottom half play amongst each other, the top half play amongst each other, right?
Yeah, but
then how many actually get relegated from the bottom half of that table?
One straight relegation and one relegation playoff where they have a 2-legged game against the team coming up from the First Division B. I've
always liked that. We might have mentioned it before. You might have explained to me why it's not done in the Premier League. But even one of the 3 places, the third bottom in the Premier League playing the third place in the Championship coming up, and it'd just be a great matchup and a good kind of decider of, are you worthy of staying up or is the opponent worthy of the promotion?
I get it, but I'm not sure where I stand on it, because I think, by definition, the teams in the Premier Division will be better than the teams in the Second Division or whatever they're called in your respective countries. And you haven't done enough to stay in. I don't think beating up a team that's just come up from the league above is good enough reason to not go down, in my opinion. And I think for me, relegation and promotion is such a huge part of the sport that I think if you've come in your positions at the top of the league, I think you should get up. It shouldn't be a case that's
okay. What about if you had the 4th bottom playing the 4th?
An extra one.
Yeah,
I could buy into that. If you give it an extra chance.
I'm just being I just love the excitement of it, the drama of that this head-to-head. You've been poor this season and you could drop out, but you've this one chance of redemption to stay in your league, and then the boys coming up going like you haven't done enough to be promoted, but you're getting one more shot, beat this team, and you take their place, Yeah,
it's not a bad idea actually, because you look at some leagues, and I certainly have seen it a few times in the Serie A recently, where there seems to be actually not last season, but a couple of seasons ago, there would be a gap between those 3, and they're going down. and you're sitting there in 16th, and you're like, I'm absolutely golden here. I don't even really have to care the last 10 matches of the league. So it could add a bit of excitement there. It's like the playoffs in reverse. Teams coming up from the championship, they're some of the most exciting games you'll see all year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll send a letter to the Premier League.
We'll
let them know our
thoughts.
I'm sure we'll be listening to wholeheartedly.
They're probably tuned in fairness. So
yeah. So my game is just kicking off here now in Belgium. So I'm gonna get that up on the screen and watch it. Your game is an 8 o'clock kickoff, Gary. Is that right?
Yeah, 8 o'clock. Yeah, so I'm actually flicked over to some Breeders' Cup to get some sneaky horse racing in, but we'll have more of that later on tonight.